Palestine Conference Center. I've just had my coffee from the Coffee City, covered by Inspire Africa. Get yourself a coffee. Uganda is one of those countries that is exporting coffee at a great stride. Just in the past financial year, we exported 700,000 bags of coffee, and the return to investment was remarkable. Now today, as we're going to talk about something that is ongoing, one of the things President Museveni talks about during COVID-19 address is the need to protect our tourism sector from the effects of the lockdowns. And to speak to us and more about this, we have the man charged with making sure the effects of the pandemic don't affect the sector. Martin Mugara Bahinduka will be talking to us about this. But before we talk to the minister, we want to tap into my colleague Ari Young. Wherever you are this early morning, what are the big stories in your area and how best can we tap into that as a nation? Ari Young?
So much, Andrew, in the news center. Today we have woken up in a very good sober mood in Karamoja. What I wanted to bring to your attention is that President Museveni is expected to do something in Karamoja to see how to tackle the growing insecurity in Karamoja. However, the leader, he will be meeting the district leaders and members of parliament, but the youth in Karamoja are saying that President Museveni should not make a mistake to get out of Karamoja without meeting them, because they are the ones who are most affected and they have lost the trust in their leaders. That whenever I meet with the leaders give him opposite information, and yet once the king can be giving the president directly what is happening, and they are ready to name some of the security officers and the leaders who are benefiting from this capital. And it's not that the capital is just there; it has become a commercial capital effect, whereby cows are raised, they are loaded in the truck, and later it disappears. So instead, the president, after meeting with the leaders, should spare some time to meet with the Karamoja selected youth who really want to brainstorm him, to give him all the confidence and the truth about the cattle rustling, the genesis of the cattle rustling, and who is benefiting with it. That's exactly what is happening. And they are moving. They have demanded that some of the long steady security officers in the army should be transferred, and they bring a new blood that can help, because already they are saying that those who are not have stayed with Karamoja seems to have.
Well, that is my colleague Ari Young. Thank you so much. But your audio was a little bit, getty. But thank you so much. The youth in Moroto, that is in the Karamoja sub-region, they want to meet the president, that they can articulate their issues that are very pressing in person. They feel their leaders are not representing them better. Well, let's now talk to my guest today, the Minister of State for Tourism, Honorable Martin Mugara. A very good morning, Honorable. I'm very excited to have you here because we're talking tourism and you're young and energetic. First, I want to congratulate you about the post that you were given. Looking at the tourism department and the tourism sector as a whole, where have we gone wrong as a generation?
First of all, morning, Andrew.
Good morning.
And thank you for having me. Morning to all the viewers out there. And of course, I'm happy to be here. And of course to be speaking about this wonderful tourism sector.
Yep.
And like you asked, probably we even had a discussion before going on to air.
Oh yeah.
How important and how beautiful Uganda is. And our prayer is that the young can move around, get to experience the beauty of this country, tweet about it, so the whole world out there can know and appreciate and have more people coming in, so that we can earn some more revenue for this country. Probably just to give you a small background why tourism is important in this country.
Yeah.
Before COVID in 2019, tourism was bringing around $1.6 billion in this country, contributing around 8% to GDP. For an average of around 5 years to 2019. Well, we were hit like any other country out there.
Yeah.
We were affected. The revenues went down. In 2019 alone, in 2020, sorry, we collected around, from 1.6 billion, went to around $500 million, which is around 70% drop.
That was a deep drop.
Yeah, it was a big drop. If you look at hotel bookings, that went down to around 20%. If you look at jobs, because the tourism sector alone was employing around 700,000 jobs.
Direct and indirect.
Direct and indirect. Went down to around 200,000. So we're hit, but thank God now we are recovering. If we talked numbers today, for instance, we've had the triple entry by around the first quarter of 2019, we had maybe only around 27,000 tourists getting in. Currently, during the same period in 2021, we've tripled to around 73,000. So yeah, we believe we are picking up.
We're coming back.
Yeah, we're getting some good money, and probably we shall improve from the $500 million now going forward, probably at least $1 billion this financial year. That's our target.
Now, that is very impressive. Honorable Minister, I want to tap into what are your plans for this sector? I want, as a young, youthful Ugandan who loves my country and believes in tourism, I want to hear your plans. What are the plans for the sector?
Interestingly, not only for me alone, but even so many young Ugandans.
Broadly, yes.
You see, one thing that we've learned out of COVID has been that, you see, we can also survive on domestic tourism. We don't need to necessarily target the Europeans to come here and visit and give us some money. If you go to the neighboring countries, they are doing this. If you go to Kenya, the Kenyans are touring their destinations, and they are not so much affected by COVID. Because the Kenyans continued going to these hotels, giving out, probably making a contribution to the economy. So our biggest actually target now is the Ugandan tourism probably market, you the young people.
The domestic tourism.
The domestic, and like I've said, at least I've seen you move around, tweet about this. If we had so many young people move around, tweet, send this message out there, so that yes, we can keep running without majorly being affected, only relying onto the foreigner, the foreigner tourists. So yes, we are going to focus with UTB. We've developed a new brand that probably will be launched very soon, just to talk about and to market what we have, mainly for only the domestic tourists. So my prayer out there to the Ugandans, come, and I'll be part of the movement. I'll be moving with so many tour operators that are organizing so many travel probably packages. We shall be moving them. We shall be talking about this country.
I love when you hit about packages, Honorable. The packages of the domestic tourism, at times they're equally still charged in dollars. That disturbs my psyche on a daily when I see them on their websites and all. And maybe they're now, just so you know, Honorable, me, I have my friends. We don't have a tour company. We don't have a tour guide, but we know we love to travel. So we get our van, we get our sound bar, we get our drinks, off we go. And we head to any destination we head to. That means we have taken out a few people who would have been in the value chain of the tourism sector. How are we going to harness that? Because the figures on the other side from the hoteliers and the destinations where we go to, at times they're extremely exorbitant. I don't know. Are they trying to recover using big figures or something of the sort? How do we get through that?
Thank you. And of course, from the time I came into the ministry, we've been talking about this. That is, we cannot say we are going to promote domestic tourism unless we work on the pricing. For a normal Ugandan,
pricing is off the roof.
Yes, to protect. Because you see, for you to be qualified as a tourist, you must have spent a night either in a protected area or been there for 24 hours.
Yes.
Now, if you moved out there and someone is charging you $250 a night, even me as a minister, I would find that so exorbitant.
Oh, yes.
So of course, we've been having a discussion across the platforms with UWA and the rest of the players. And I thank God, at least even there were adverts running. UWA is opening up, constructing new lodges, and we are saying, no, go ahead and still open up more space. So you can have a variety of accommodation within these areas. So you can be spoilt by choice. If I have $50, I should be able to pay. If I have 100,000 shillings, I should be able to pay. So that is the only way we can promote domestic tourism. So we are focusing on it, and we shall make it as easy as possible for Ugandan to go and enjoy their country. Well, you can charge a different figure for the foreign tourists. That is okay. But for the young people who want to go and with their families and enjoy, we are going to make it as cheap as possible for you to move. But also work on the infrastructure in terms of
the roads leading to the
of course, I want to thank government through the leadership of His Excellency, because most of roads are now tarmacked. What we are going to do is to improve the roads within the protected areas. And of course, I know there are some areas like Bwindi where there are challenges, but here we are engaging with the government, and we are going to make it easy for you. So you don't need a 4x4 to go and reach a protected area.
If I have my Laum, I can drive there.
Even the smallest VTs, you should be able to drive and reach any destination and enjoy. So yes, we are going to focus so much because we need you Ugandans to support us, so that we can survive in such challenges without necessarily having to rely on the foreigners.
Be a part of this conversation. You have a question for the Honorable about tourism in this country. The hashtag is Morning@NTV. I'll tap on my Twitter and I'll get these questions coming through for the Honorable here. Now, Honorable, yesterday MPs in the House insisted that the country has not invested in creating genuine local tourism product that attracts Ugandans. Yet we need to have Ugandans on board. How are you packaging that? We have failed to see a genuine local product like, I'm going for this.
Oh yes, I agree, and I want to thank the Committee on Trade for having come up with that very, very wonderful report. And you know, they made very good recommendations.
Yeah, they did.
For instance, there's something that was supposed to, should have actually started, called the Tourism Development Levy. It is happening in Kenya, it is happening in Tanzania, and it only looks at developing the sector, such that we don't necessarily have to run to government at all times. Whenever someone is traveling, let's say you're the Ugandan, and you want to deny us the opportunity to partake of your finance by touring within our areas, and you want to go and do it in Dubai, then we should charge you a fee.
Why are you going to Dubai before you exhaust here?
Yes, of around $10. So that money will help us, first of all, because we're also looking at developing the human resource. We have a human resource challenge in this country. Because when you go to these destinations, you want to get first-class treatment like you'd get in Dubai or in any other European destination you would have traveled to. So yes, most of this money is going to go to training. We have a number of institutes. The other day I was in Jinja at UHTTI, and government has invested around $6 million. They're going to add another $12 million to make this a center of excellence so that we can produce the best out there and even have some surplus to export. So of course, with that amount of money, we shall have enough. We have so many undeveloped products, like you said. If you looked at our equator today, I mean, Uganda is one of the most. We have a lot we're not exploiting. True. If you looked at the source of the Nile, for instance, that we talk about, we have these plans already developed. We are looking at probably finance to have them funded and operational. But like I can assure you, if we have this levy in place, we shall be able to make some money, because if you can imagine how many people travel out there to go to celebrate weddings in Dubai and the rest. So that money is not. Do you know it's affordable to be in Dubai than to go to Bwindi? Oh yes. So see our lives. Oh yes. If it's affordable for me to go in Dubai, and it's extremely expensive for me to be in Bwindi, in Pentrebo, I mean, I will go to Dubai. Yeah, that's why we're saying, can we bring these costs a little down? Yes, and that's why we're saying, because mainly the challenge is on the accommodation bit of it. Yes. But like I said, you see, UWA has also gotten into the accommodation business now. And they offer, I've slept in a number of UWA lodges where I've paid 40,000 a night. Ugandan? Yes, Ugandan. Hey. They have camping areas where you'd pay less. So that's why I'm saying, with UWA and the rest of the players, we've agreed, and even the private sector, and we are calling on to the private sector, mainly Ugandans, come and invest more into this, because I can assure you will not make a loss. There is profit being made. 1.6 billion is quite an amount. There's no you'd fail to make. So we are going to make it as convenient as possible for you, the local, to go ahead and join with the entire family. And because you see, most of our generation, like you said, you have to tweet about it. What sense would it make for me to go to Queen Elizabeth, like I had one of your former guests, Farida. Farida. Yes. Of course, thank God she moved around and she was able to tweet. But if you went out there and you cannot sleep in a protected area and probably take a good selfie and tweet, what experience will we be talking about? There is no experience. Yeah, so we shall make it as easy as possible. We are working upon it. So that the foreigner can pay whatever much, because you know, some of them are not comfortable with the low class, low end kind of accommodation. So you'll be spoiled probably for choice. If you want the high end, it will be there. But if you want the low end, you should be able to get it. When we talk about the foreigners, there was a policy I had in the corridors of power. I don't know whether you've heard about this, that when foreigners come, as soon as they are here and they have a tourist permit to be in the country, they should exchange their money at the airport. Immediately. Because when they come with their dollars in the country, most times they go back with the money they have come with, because they have not exchanged it, whether in time or something of the sort. What is the ministry doing to tap into these foreign monies that come through via the tourists who get in this country, that they can spend more here? I've not heard about that, because we have forex bureaus. I have years in the corridors of tourism. I'm very interested in tourism. I agree, but like I said, one of the things we are doing with the private sector, you see, tourism is a sector that equally partners a lot with the private sector, because they're the ones who manage these tourists. All we do is policy and see how best we can make work easier for them as well as they run their businesses. So what we are saying is, of course, with them, to come up with the good packages, where probably if a tourist came into the country, you don't only have to go to Bwindi and leave the following day. There should be something, so many activities you do across the way. Probably spend 3 days so that you can spend some good amount of money. But I can assure you, on average, every tourist that gets into this country spends nothing below $1,000.
That's
So that's no, but according to that's not a lot of money. There are some countries that are spending actually where tourists spend a little bit more. So we are getting more creative to create package activities where you'd come and spend so much more.
Do you know why there is a destination in Kalangala? I don't want to go there.
Oh.
It's a very good hotel, but they have no activities.
Oh.
I cannot do, I can do so little much of the trekking around, the hiking. There is no much activity there. So the destinations that you're creating, Honorable, and the facilities that are there, we need more creative activities that can keep me there or with my team. The issue of building hotels and they're just there for sleeping and the breakfast, there is more to that we can actually do as a country.
I agree.
Now, the other thing I would like to tap into, Honorable Mangara, how, I think it was last week I saw the UTB going around the country. They had a seminar, was it in Ginger? And they were sitting to go around the facilities around the country to see those that are still, you know, feasible for business and those that need to be rehabilitated. How is government committed to make sure that all these that need to be rehabilitated, it's done in time?
Well, thank you so much, and I want to thank you to be. It's an arm that is mainly into marketing and branding of Uganda as a destination.
They are trying,
and of course they are trying. And like we said, as you wait for the new product of how we shall have branded Uganda as the Pearl of Africa. And I liked the argument that you see going forward. For instance, like you're saying for Ugandan, just as I come to your question, if you went to Kalangala, for instance, I've been there once recently. You know, it's not about going there to sleep and being on the water. There should be a number of activities.
Yes, I'm glad you know the hotel now.
Yeah, of course I know. And that's why we are saying that you know, let's not talk about tourism. Let's talk about exploration. Let's talk about the experience you get as you're going to Kalangala. Interact with the community, because most of us have been around these things. We've seen them. I mean, if you told me about a monkey, I wouldn't care because I've seen it every day.
You've grown with them.
I'm on my road for photo. I'll see a monkey every day. But there is an experience greater to that. As you move that journey, the communities you interact with, the food and the rest. So that's why I'm saying we should look at it in a bigger perspective. Let's stop being tourists, but let's be real travelers so that we can explore and understand our cultures and our country bigger. So as we go back to UTB, of course I want to thank them from the executive director and the board, because they are doing a good job. And of course they have a number of projects that are already at hand. The challenge is still financing here and there, and that's why we are saying we should not overburden government, because we can make the money we ourselves. All we need is to have, like I said, the tourism development levy. If we had that, then we can develop a number of products. There is so much this country has to offer. But of course, still, like I'm saying, what has been done so far, not that bad. At least Uganda is growing at, if you look at our tourism sector per year for the last 5 years, we're growing at a rate of around 21%. We are the third fastest growing destination in the world. So I think we are faring well.
We're getting there. It's a conversation you and I need to tap into. Tresa Kichoncho, I see you. Rita Styles on Twitter, I see you. When I get back, I'll pick your tweets and read a couple of those. If you have a question, it's about tourism. How do we revamp the tourism, especially the local tourism? You've traveled around this country. What have you seen that you hate? What have you seen that you like that the minister needs to know? It's Morning at NTV. I'll take a break for now and I'll be back shortly.
Morning at NTV.
Live from Kampala's Serena Conference Center, Mandru Chamagero Muntua. And see, we're talking tourism. And those on Twitter, the hashtag is Morning at NTV. I can see a couple of you. Kichoncho, I've seen you, and a couple of others. I'll pick your tweets a little later. I should have been talking to my colleague Rashula Didi, who happens to be in Koboko and Jumbe. We understand from the media corridors that there is a little bit of insecurity in these two districts. Gunshoots happening day and day, and they're dropping some, documents that are worrying the locals. Didi will be joining us a little later, and will be in position to talk that conversation. But for now, I'm still with the Honorable Minister of State for Tourism, Martin Mugara Buhinduka. Many of you dropping here. Okay, something to do with prices. Someone already responded to this. Someone here is asking that ask the minister about us who are in the diaspora. When we return to our country, the airport seems to not to have enough capacity to handle us, and this, I'm sure, it affects tourism as well. How are you addressing the issue at the airport? Manpower.
Well, of course, first of all, I want to thank still government for having invested in our national carrier. And I think it's doing a good job for us. Kenya has benefited, South Africa has, Ethiopia has, because when you have this airline, there is a lot of advert going on. But I agree with you, there has not been a lot of advertisement at our airport in the first place that talks about the beautiful Uganda, the beautiful part of Africa. But you're also getting there, we are getting there, and I think we shall have, you'll be able to see a lot as you get into Uganda through the airport and even other cross points. But still, yes, I think currently the tourists that we can handle, it's not that bad. The number is too big because we are receiving around 11 flights per week. Yeah, we can manage for now. We can manage.
Honorable, there was an uproar just recently over testing requirements at the airport. My elder brother Amos Rekesa was up in arms about this, and we had a conversation on Twitter. I don't know that you're in that space. We had a conversation with Robert Kabshenga was the host, and a couple of other guys on Twitter. The reach of that conversation was 2.5 million Ugandans around the globe, and it was centered closely about the testing requirements at the airport. What are you doing to make such mixed messaging end?
Well, thank you, and of course, like I said, the private sector is a big player when it comes to tourism. We listen to them, we move with them, and we see how we address the challenges that they have together as a team. Well, I happened to be part of the meeting on Thursday. Wekesa was there.
Hi, nice.
It was mediated by the Prime Minister.
Yes.
Well, first of all, I don't want a Minister of Health to get us probably wrongly.
Yes.
The truth of the matter is we agree that life
comes first. Yes.
I also understand that the private sector may only be focusing on making a profit
money
here and there.
Yes.
But yes, by and large, our biggest challenge may not really be the testing. Not really. But what we are saying is the process that you undergo from the beginning of the testing process to the time you get the results. So you can imagine someone has flown in, taken so many hours on the flight, and now you probably get to the airport, you're driving them to a beach, and they spend another 3 hours without getting results. That becomes a little bit difficult for someone, I think, and that's why we're having cancellations here and there. So our emphasis is we want to thank the Ministry of Health. They've handled COVID very well. Our principal has handled it very well, and I think in Africa we are the third best at handling the COVID crisis. What we are saying is there should be a little bit of efficiency now.
At the airport?
Yes, at the airport.
Entry points?
At the entry points, yeah. If you're testing, let's have the results at least within 1 hour, or max, but still within 1 hour, I think it can still be achieved.
Yeah, we can do rapid tests
yes,
and all that.
In some countries they are doing rapid tests, because if I'm double vaccinated, for instance, and I've come with a negative PCR test within, let's say, even 48 hours, I think a rapid test can work. So yes, but thank God the Prime Minister stood over it, and we agreed that we should have much more engagement with Minister of Health, because I think this time they didn't engage all the players.
Yes.
Because we're in the meeting with Civil Aviation Authority, Minister of Works, and other departments. So going forward, we agreed that within the 2 weeks, with Minister of Foreign Affairs involved and all the other players,
inclusion.
Yeah, we should sit together and see how best.
Now,
but we are for the health. We agree that health first. What we are saying is let's just work on the efficiency so that everyone is comfortable. Like I said, tourism is a competitive business.
Yes.
What we are selling, Kenya has, Tanzania has. What we should make easy is the simplicity of someone to get into the country and get out. That is all.
Isn't your ministry part of the task force fighting against COVID-19?
Oh yes, it is.
It is. Why then do such decisions get cancelled after uproar, yet they could have been handled at the task force level, and they just rolled out when you have all agreed about them?
Oh yes, and that's why I'm saying, because actually by the time we met, what we got from Ministry of Health is they hadn't engaged the task force yet, which I think was
it was wrong.
Yeah, but of course, let's not say it's wrong.
No, Martin, you're not going to play safe here, Honorable.
For them, they are drive.
It was wrong to run with such a decision without engaging the National Task Force, because we understand the ministry is on a recovery journey. Why make such a decision without? Are you guys having intrigue in there in the task force? Are things going on well?
No. Like I said, you see, the medical people.
Yes.
For them, only look at one thing: saving life.
Yes.
They
of course, the Hippocratic oath tells them
yes.
that.
Now, for us, we are discussing money as well. That for them, and that the truth of the matter is, life should come first. So I think there was not enough consultation. I'm not saying that they did not consult, but there was not enough consultation, and their decision was never stopped. It was just pushed to 2 weeks, so that everyone can be consulted and we come. But still, at the end of the day, they will carry the day. You know,
Of course, it's the health.
So what we are doing is to engage them.
Okay.
It's us talking to them. Please understand what we are saying as well. But we appreciate what they are doing, and we agree that life should come first. As much as the private sector wants to make a profit, let's also have this in consideration as we are pushing them.
Earlier on, you alluded to something about ease, that when tourists get into this country, they should have ease of access to facilities and even entry and leaving the country. Let's talk about accessibility to some facilities in this country, especially for the locals. Permits for hiking, for gorilla trekking and all. How do we go about that, Honorable? It's heavy. It's not an easy thing to go around.
In terms of pricing?
Yes, again, the pricing.
Of course, like I said, you see now, before COVID, we hadn't also focused on domestic tourism aggressively as we are now. But of course, still, currently, if you see the packages, let's say for gorilla trekking, someone is paying, let's say, around almost $500. We're only paying half as Ugandans.
Yep.
But we are going to work hard to make sure that this price goes as low as it can get. For tourists to get into a protected area, I think they're paying around $40.
Yep.
For Ugandan, you're only paying 20,000 shillings. I don't think it is too much. So of course, as Ugandans as well, let's try to, because we are doing this, you're enjoying, you're getting something out of it, but you're also supporting. We cannot make it 1,000 because we need to make some small money out of it. But the prices are fair, and we're going to include the other partners so that it comes as low as it can get.
Someone here on Twitter is asking, Honorable Mugara, good to have you. I'm grateful that he's young and charismatic about the tourism sector and all that. Honorable, let's talk about the payments of the people in the hotel industry or in the tourism destination. Payment is petty. Are you addressing the issue of salaries of the people who work in these different destinations? Are you addressing the issue, or there is another question I just want to bring it speak to you. Are you addressing the issue of racism in some destinations?
Of course, I understand, and that's why I was saying, you see earlier when I was talking about that, we are trying to train the best human resource we can have in the tourism sector. Then we also need to talk about issues of payment, because you know, someone will not have the best training and earn 200,000 a month.
Now the problem, Honorable, is when you train the best people, they're taken up by Kenya, because Kenya is paying them better, because Kenya is giving them better incentives and all. What is the strategy from the ministry perspective that is going to make sure that the best trained people actually stay put in our country and they give us the service we need?
Yes, of course, as getting there. You see, that's what I'm saying. You see, the tourism sector is interdependent on so many other factors. So when we are saying that, first of all, we want to promote the sector, so you can have as many tourists come in as possible, have the locals visit as much as they can. Then, of course, equally, the revenues will get higher. If I'm running a hotel, because let me tell you, the average occupancy for hotels in this country, even before COVID, was around 50%. Because Ugandans are not visiting, the foreigners are not so many. But if we promote this destination more and more aggressively, and get as many people coming in, and even the domestic, the Ugandans travel as much as you can, and we have hotel occupancy, probably let's say go to 70%, 75%. These guys will have a little bit of more money to pay the employees. So we understand the challenges, but also employing them, please pay reasonable amounts of money to these people. But of course, like I'm saying, what government is doing, even with other players, it will finally get into the hotel business. But of course, they also have challenges they've raised. We shall be meeting them, I think, in the course of this month as hotel owners. If you look at, they are paying so many taxes, a number of taxes across the board, and it's making it a little bit difficult for them to make money at the end of the day. So we're engaging government to have these figures revised, these taxes reduced, so that they can be able to equally pay and manage their business as well.
I understand. Then how are you addressing the issue of racism? Have you seen some destinations where Ugandans are not allowed? Are you aware, Honorable, that there are some destinations here in Uganda where Ugandans go and they're given, like, the service is split? Nationals, this is their service. Foreigners, this is their service.
Of course, that is highly unprofessional. And, you know, I wouldn't be shocked if it is being done by...
It is done.
No, if it is actually... I could agree with you. And I wish you'd give me some destinations that are doing that for our interests.
Now that you're there, we'll bring these to light.
Yeah, no, of course, we'll address it. As I'm saying, it would be interesting if you find that the actually hotel owners, actually Ugandans doing this. So one category of the people... Yeah, given different attention. Different, and then the Ugandan, which is very, very, very unfortunate and sad. I think, like I keep saying, you know, Africans should start believing in themselves a little bit more. Why would you give me second-class treatment and give the other first-class? Yet I'm a local here. Yes. And you're local as well.
All right. Someone here says, a very good morning, Andrew, and this is Jonam. He says, Andrew, I would like the minister to break it down for me. What is the national tourism strategy of this country to bounce back after COVID-19, and how do I plug in as a resident?
Of course, we hinted on that as we were having our discussions. Like I said, going forward is focusing on domestic tourism, developing so many products, like we talked about the source of Nile, a number of them, coming up with a number of activities, like you're talking about hiking, coming up with the good products, but also engaging the private sector. We shall make work for them as easy as possible as they go about their businesses in terms of because, you know, they are the ones who come up with these packages. They receive these people. They even market on their own. and of course, going forward, we've seen the importance of getting more digital in terms of advertising. There are a number of ideas that so many young people have that we shall also look at to implement, so that, yes, we can make, and I can assure you, at least I've moved around a bit. I've not seen a beautiful country as beautiful as...
There is no better country like Uganda, believe you me.
But of course, there's also a challenge with, you see, politics sometimes takes us overboard.
That's the problem.
I have seen, for instance, I saw there's this big-time kickboxer who is supposed to come to Uganda, I think, to support the Batwa. In, I think, December, I think Pryor, he's called Pryor something, he's a big-time world champion. But if you went down his page and you saw what people were tweeting down, don't come to Uganda, don't come to Uganda, people, you know, that kind of politics. Yes. I think there is a time where we should choose that, you know, for once, okay, let's talk, because, you know, when this money comes in, it helps us. It goes to our health centers, it helps the roads, it helps all these other. So I want to implore Ugandans that the negativity is too much, and we lose so much.
We need to change that conversation.
Yes, one single tweet by someone who is probably who has a big following in this country, influential out there, that is ready internationally, you don't know how much damage it does. So yes, I agree that we have differences in political ideology, in what we believe in and what we support, but let's have a limitation somehow.
Visit Uganda.
Yes, you know. Let's support.
And we move on. All right, thank you so much. Guys on Twitter, I can actually see your tweets here, colleagues and friends. Rita Styles, thank you so much. Tracy Kichoncho. Fidi Ashley says there is no better country like this. Mwesigwa Barbara. Tumu. Tumutunjire, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. Ogara, you're part of those ones who are here. Then we have Vector V, you're equally part of the conversation. You're looking at tourism at the different layers. Honorable, as we're finalizing this conversation, I would like to know, in terms of numbers, how badly did the pandemic affect us?
Of course it did. Like I told you, you can imagine from making around 1.6 billion to 400 million.
Per annum.
Yeah, and what we made in 2019. Wow. If you look at UA, for instance, it was really affected. It couldn't even pay staff. We are running to government now to make sure that they help. So yes, well, we were affected. And of course, the other factors that are minus the COVID pandemic. For instance, we have what we call human-wildlife conflict. You know, between the communities living around the national protected areas, and the animal population within. Of course, the animals are increasing in number. Elephants, every other day in Parliament there is a fight over this. But thank God, of course, we are meeting MPs of these areas and want to probably give them some knowledge about what are these animals about, what do they bring to this country, vis-a-vis the challenges, so that we can approach the challenges with a lot of information about it. So yes, there have been a number of challenges. They are still there. We are looking at fencing and so many other, so the communities are not disturbed so much. You see when they also get angry, because
they'll kill the animals.
Yes, it is their responsibility as well. So yes, we are affected by, but like I told you, the figures earlier, we are picking up, we are getting back on track. But I want to implore Ugandans, go visit I was at work the other day. You can go and see the beauty there, which is, especially for the young children.
Oh yes, for the children.
So that they grow up understanding, you know, because when you go there, at least you get a bit of education, you get a lot of knowledge about, instead of only watching them in cartoon form or animated form,
you see them in real.
let them go, give them the experience, really. So my call is just to implore Ugandans that the only solution to the COVID problem going forward, because I know, of course, we've not vaccinated yet. Vaccine is a challenge to the entire African continent, because there is no much for us to.
We are waiting to be given.
We have a lot of money already prepared to buy vaccine. It has been there for months now, but no one is giving us. So going forward, like I'm saying, the solution to the current challenges within the tourism sector is still upon you, the Ugandan. I want to thank the Excellency, opened the movement now. You can move freely over the weekend. Put some little fuel in the car. Most of the roads are good. You don't need to hire a 4x4.
Yeah,
the roads.
The roads are good. I used the Masaka Road through Gombe, via Gomba, and through Rakai, and then up to Nsinjiro.
Oh, you can imagine.
The roads are good, but maybe Ugandans are not informed where they should be going. That's another thing altogether. So, finalizing the conversation, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. The tweet, Morning at NTV, I want to thank those who have been a part of this conversation. Find a destination this weekend and go around the country. There is a lot you can actually find around the country. There is a lot you can celebrate. Well, me, I travel when I can. You too, you can actually travel. At times, you just don't need to go around Kampala. Find time, go to the Bahai Temple, it's in Kampala. Go to Kasubi, it's in Kampala. Go to Entebbe, you work, it is within your means. At times, we should not complain about there is no money. You know where you should be going. Just find some time, be proud of your country. And when you visit those locations, prove. Take a picture, tweet about it, Instagram about it, put it on Facebook. Better still, go live when you're in those locations. Let us expose our country to the worlds that don't understand what we are and what we stand for. We could have our political differences, but our country comes first at the core of everything we do. So the more you amplify the tourism of this country, the more money comes in, the more economy gets stable, the more you and I can access quality service delivery in this country. I'm Andrew Chamagero. I'll take a break for now and we'll be back shortly. Good morning.
If you are ready for the next level of growth, apply via www.ninjajica.co.ug. Ninja Jica, transforming Uganda's startup ecosystem.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
Okay, wrapping up the show today. A couple of you have given us the messaging here. I really want to thank you, those celebrating your birthdays today. It's remarkable. I want to thank you so much. Someone here who was watching from Botswana says, thank you so much, Andrew. I'm a Ugandan in Botswana. I keep saying there is no better country like us. Another person said, yes, I want to travel, but there is no money in our pockets. Consider that. You go and work. Look for work. Go and work. It's a hustle. You have to struggle, and then you can actually get there. That said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much. Shortly after me, much more exciting programming follows. But before we wind up this, I want to remind you that COVID kills and COVID is real. And we have gotten into the rainy season. COVID thrives in coldness. The more it's cold, the more it moves faster. Please don't put your guard down. Wash your hands with clean running water and soap. Wear your mask correctly, let it cover your nose and your mouth. Make sure you sanitize whenever you can. And above all, make sure that you avoid big crowds. Big crowds, it's a one place where you can actually, get in contact with COVID-19. It's still with us. We just need to be the African champions to stop the spread of COVID-19. Shortly after me, it's coming up. It's Mwasuza Mutia with Farida Nakaziwe. Until next time, I'm Andrew Chamagero. Omontua Wansi. Good morning.